bunch are full of soul.
Missiles away. Direct hit.
Bring that target down at all costs. Tank battalion's been wiped out.
No.
Why is it still standing?
Target is still active.
We both know why you're here, and that's to talk about the next Fallout. Fallout 76 is a prequel to all the other games, and it's our biggest one yet. It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4. Set in the hills of West Virginia, you are one of the first to emerge into an untamed and very different wasteland.
That little smile he has? That is years of training.
We always start with the world, and this time it features all new rendering, lighting, and landscape technology. It allows us to have 16 times the detail and even view distant weather systems across the map. Because yes, Fallout 76 is entirely online. Because evidently, these online games are hard, they can have some nasty issues. I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs. I read it on the internet, so it's true. And that sometimes it doesn't just work.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Okay, so this video is going to come off as very rough and unplanned and completely lacking in any sort of polish, so if you've played a Bethesda game before, you'll probably feel right at home. Basically, what prompted this was the news of Bethesda's new money-making tactic, which was the new subscription service for Fallout 76. For anyone who hasn't seen that, basically, in order to get a few bonuses that come with Fallout 76, a few new features, as they would like to call them, which basically amounts to private servers, a few other goodies like the armor from Fallout New Vegas. You get an unlimited scrap stash, and just like a bunch of random atoms each month. Like, you know, there's your allowance to pay for some microtransactions. Here you go. It's all being thrown out there out of nowhere, despite previous promises of no kind of pay-to-win microtransactions or nothing, no mention of a subscription service. So I think a lot of people have sort of treated this as the final straw for this game that nobody even plays anymore, as far as I'm aware, and nobody really wanted to play from the start. Quick history lesson for all the shit that's gone down with this game. In particular, I think the opening act of the game being even more broken and useless than every other Bethesda game, I think that's what really pissed a lot of people off, where even after the beta test 2 weeks out, which obviously gave no one any time to actually do any testing or any fixing of any bugs or anything like that, it showed a lot of people that really there was no hope for this game being complete or polished from the very beginning. It started out, like most Bethesda games, as just completely buggy mess. And it's really weird to me that a lot of people, they don't seem to think that this is a common occurrence. Like, oh, like this one's the one that didn't work. All the other Bethesda games have worked so great. But for me, it's been a long time coming for the majority of people to actually realize this. I don't know why so many people are just in denial about the quality of these games. Like Fallout 3 was, buggy mess. Skyrim, a buggy mess. Fallout 4, a buggy mess. It's just like they're all as bad as each other, with so many issues, and yet so many people look past these problems. it baffles me. I mean, they're simple entertainment, I get it, but I just don't understand why a lot of people put up with it. A lot of other AAA games in this industry full of crap, they're just they're okay with the quality being such a difference between them. It's like, say what you will about Sony's first party titles, but at least you can say that the majority of those ones are pretty polished, even if they're a lot more linear than something like Bethesda's usual output. Going on from that, there was of course the issues with the pre-orders, the bag that was supposed to be a nice, carry bag, but ended up being like a cheap little lycra throwaway sort of thing, and that pissed a lot of people off. Again, I'm not really one for those kinds of special editions, so it really didn't strike too much of a chord with me. But the game itself, I think, when it released, being just as bad as everyone had expected, worse even, because it had just so many problems. I think even more than the beta could really show you, with on top of having no NPCs and all these issues with quests not acting correctly or not completing correctly, the game just being totally unbalanced, all these bugs. There's just so many problems there entirely, and this continued, and I think the microtransactions showing up with even if they are cosmetic, still having those ones that are they have those fucking outfits. They that you can pay $7 for a green power armor, $14 for a blue special power armor. I mean, even if they aren't actual pay to win, as it were, in quotation marks, pay to win, it's still just nickel and diming people for really. It's like even the worst MMOs, I don't think, charge you for this much kind of customization stuff. Not to that degree anyway. The fact that you can earn atoms in game really has no difference to the way the economy works, because I think it's so minimal. You're never really going to afford much of anything, especially at the prices that they're charging. And now, you can get your allowance paid out, by the Bethesda marketing man when you're ready to fork up the cash. So the subscription service that they're charging now is going to be $100 US for anyone who's gullible enough to buy into this, to think that maybe the NPCs that are being added, maybe those sort of fixes, those will make the game so much better. But it just it just completely makes no sense to me. I mean, you bought this game, this online only multiplayer, play with everyone Fallout game, and then you're being charged $100 a year to play by yourself or play with your little group of friends. And for anyone over here in Kangaroo Land, the whatever it is, the yearly pass is $179, $179, which, I mean, I haven't worked out the math of whether or not that's equivalent to what it'd be worth in America, but just looking at it, I can't imagine anyone would pay for this. Even the most diehard Fallout fans, which I know there are, I think they would have really given up by this point, and not being given, say, a free fix to add all these extra things to make the game better. No, that's not an option. You have to pay to make the game not even better, but just slightly more acceptable. I mean, I feel like things like the unlimited scrap crate thing seems like something that would have been there on day one for most games, and selling you the Ranger armor from New Vegas, which, if anyone doesn't recall, Obsidian, the developers of New Vegas, missed the bonus Metacritic score. So if they reached, I think it was an 85, they would have got a bonus from Bethesda for creating this game. So they got an 84, so they didn't quite make it to the bonus mark. So therefore they got nothing. I'm sure they were never allowed to touch Fallout again because only Bethesda can make the true quality titles. But so they're being used to use this armor from a game that's far better than anything Bethesda puts out. So they're using that as, because they know everyone wants the Ranger armor, so they're using that as the incentive to try and win you over, even though one armor set, I think, would be not that much of an incentive for that many people. I know it looks cool, but if you've actually looked at the screenshots of the Fallout 76 version, it looks like dog shit. I mean, it looks like the coat's not fitting properly, the colors are all washed out and not very vibrant or interesting. It just looks like a store-bought toy version of what it should look like in the actual game. I'm not sure if it's just the screenshot, but going along with everything else that's happening with the Fallout 76, the long list of problems which I've only just sort of touched on briefly. You can watch a million other videos that explain it in much more detail, but I just don't see this as a great step forward for really anything Bethesda's going to do in the future. If you think that this is not going to be something that Bethesda's going to proceed with every game in the future, you're kidding yourself, because I can already see Elder Scrolls 6 having some kind of paid mod corner. They won't call it that. They'll call it the Dragonborn shop or something like that. But yeah, in Skyrim 2, the Dragonborn shop. But I can see it already happening. I can see it with that Starfield game. Bethesda really has never had a good track record of being, trustworthy or competent in any degree. I think we all remember the horse armor debacle of the Oblivion days, but people seem to give them a lot more flack. A lot less flack than anyone else in this industry. I mean, if there's some problem with some dinky JRPG, that's front page news if it's got some unsavory content in it. But Bethesda being lying and greedy and just trying to trick and manipulate people, that's it. Ignore that, pass that over, because they make these games that we love so much. I mean, with the shitty voice acting, the terrible animations, the pretty dull combat, they deserve a free chance, frankly. So I just can't see any future for this company in a year full of companies fucking up. Bethesda still manages to hold a good competition for that. Even with Todd at the helm, weaving his magic, his Bethesda magic, there's a limit to how much people can take. And I think even me, who's not a great Bethesda fan, especially after the last couple of games, Fallout 4 really didn't do much for me at all. Even someone like me, I think, has just completely, run his time with this company. I think there's just not much really worth talking about anymore with these guys. They're only good for a laugh, and that's the entire point of this video, really. It's a full-on shit post of me laughing the entirety of this announcement onwards. I've just been losing my shit over how much of a fuck up one company can be. Todd and Pete Hines and all the rest of them, just like the PR skills are below zero. We're in the negatives here. It's in Arctic territory, iceberg under the water. We're really beyond saving in this point. I'm surprised they kept on with it. I thought this would be an Anthem situation where they'd claim there'd be support there for this game, but they'd drop it as soon as they found out that the reception wasn't positive. But as Todd said in that interview, it's not a game that was expected to do well on release. I mean, why would it be? Why would you release a game to try and get good scores and positive reception? You want a game you can build on for years and milk slowly. I'm assuming the entire point of the subscription service was to try and milk what few whales they had, what few people were left desperately hoping this game would improve to try and just squeeze that bit of extra cash from them, because this is a desperate attention-seeking move to try and get, a bulk sum of money from a couple of people all at once before they just can it completely and just, you release Fallout 77 or whatever the fuck's next. I'm sure Elder Scrolls 6 and the rest of them, there'll be something like this coming soon in those. So, Bethesda's weather report for the future is not looking too sunny, in my eyes at least. I mean, I'm sure there's still some faithfuls out there, but there's not a lot of hope on my end. 2019 has been a year of stuff like this, and just when you think your faith in the industry can't get any lower, this happens, or Konami announces a new Silent Hill slot machine, or Blizzard has another 10 fuck-ups in 24 hours. So things are looking bright. Hope for 2020. Peace out.